The lines I've heard about the Trump administration from both Trump apologists and also from some on the far left is that he wasn't as bad as George W. Bush because he didn't start a war that killed a lot of people. And, there is something to that. He didn't start a war that killed a lot of people. I'm not sure if he was as bad as George Bush or not. George W. Bush was a terrible president, and we should remember that. However, not being as bad as George W. Bush is an extremely low bar. I mean, if that's the bar for being a good president, then, where are we? But the news over the last few days about Mark Milley's call to China during the period around January 6th about people in the Defense Department, senior people in the Defense Department also calling China because they were afraid that Donald Trump would start a war. Now there's a lot of issues there, right? One is it really okay for the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Obviously, this is an emergency situation, but was that going around civilian control of the defense establishment, something we think is very important in the United States, a real principle of our democracy? Those are good questions, but nonetheless, what's not in question is that Milley was acting in good conscience and was legitimately concerned. We know this now because additionally, a Defense Department official made a similar call. And what that tells us is that Trump was prepared or was thinking about, or at least to put it in the most positive tones for him possible, people around him were deeply concerned that he might, because his own personal career was cratering, that he might start a war that would make what happened in Iraq over the last 20 years look like a Sunday school picnic. And he didn't start that. That didn't happen. And for that, we should be grateful. However we got to making sure that didn't happen, we should be grateful. But we should be aware that, one, that is the depth of the concern that people, these are not peaceniks. These are not lefties. Mark Milley's a guy who spent his entire life in the military. These are people who believe in the value of war, believe there is a place for it, but this is how afraid they were. It also shows us the extraordinary depth of Donald Trump's narcissism. Now, every amateur and many of the professional mental health experts I've spoken to over the last 5 years have referred to Donald Trump as a narcissist. I'm not a mental health expert, but it does strike me that there is nothing more narcissistic than exploring the possibility of a war that devastating because you lost an election and can't accept it.